Hey everyone, welcome back for a quick review of lesson 13, which is finding volume using length, width, and height of a rectangular prism. So today's lesson again is not going through the whole problem solving task or any of that information. It's the whole guided practice. We'll kind of go over the problem solving task briefly and give you some quick notes and ideas you need to solve the questions in guided practice and independent practice before going on to your exit ticket. You can also check out Mr. Hickey has made some little guided answer keys for some of the guided practice questions as well that you can use. But for the most help you can get for this, definitely be going to your teacher's Zoom classes. If you're in DePaul, you probably already were in Zoom class today and got this information, so you don't need to watch this video if you already submitted your exit ticket and did your packet and submitted your packet as well. So let's get started. Lesson 13, finding volume with length, width, and height. I'm going to go to the problem solving task, go through that first question, give you a couple notes, and then we'll wrap up. All right, here we are. This is the problem solving task. It says a right rectangular prism has a length of 6 centimeters, a width of 3 centimeters, and a height of 4 centimeters. And just to give you an idea about this, you need to have done the lesson before, lesson 12, to really understand what's happening here. Because we're going to look and see which of these equations can be used to solve for the volume of this prism. And if you remember, what we learned last lesson, was that base times height equals volume. And we aren't given the base of this rectangular prism. So which one is going to be base times height here? The base is the bottom of the shape. So this gray part is our base. And a base is not a length, it's an area. So what is the area of the base? Just like any other rectangle, we find the area by doing length times width. 6 times 3 is 18. That means the base area here is 18. Since we know that base times height is our volume, we can do 18 times 4, get the volume of a rectangular prism. So our first equation option, 18 times 4, that is a possible equation we can use to solve this. Our second one, V equals 6 plus 3 times 4. Again, knowing what we know about base times height, we can't add 6 plus 3. That's not going to give us any kind of area or anything related to what we need. So that's not going to work. We need the area of the base. We find area by doing length times width. So it's not going to work. Our third one, 6 times 3 times 4. So this is breaking things down a little bit more and kind of getting into the meat of today's lesson. We already did 6 times 3 times 4 to find the first one, 18 times 4. Because 6 times 3 gets us our base of the shape. 6 times 3 equals 18, which is the base area, and then times 4. What this is showing us is we can take the same formula from last lesson, base times height, and break into a little bit more detail and say length times width times height also equals volume. So let's get these two thoughts down real quick in on our packet so you can just also do it as well. I'm going to insert a drawing. Actually, I don't need to insert a drawing. I'm just going to type it in below here. So our two equations. We have volume equals base times height. Or, I think it's going to give you the same answer either way, or volume equals length times width, which is area, right? Times height. Those are our two equations we can use. They both will get you the correct answer, so there'll be different situations which one is more helpful than the other. But what I really want you to be doing on every question you're solving, write out the formula you're using to solve it. Write out volume equals length times width times height. Then put in the numbers you have, because that's how you're going to find out which numbers you're using, which numbers may not be important, or in some cases, like in our next lesson, what numbers are missing. Okay, I have a couple more things to say about this. I'm going to show you something in a second, back to the camera, so I can show you how this works with shapes where the base may not be on the bottom. So we think about length times width times height. That's our new formula for today. You can see it below here. And that's a way to solve for the volume of a shape, but of a rectangular prism only, sorry. So anything that's a rectangle that's three-dimensional, 3 dimensions are length, width, and height. 3D, 3 dimensions. Anything that's 3 dimensions has a length, it has a width, and a height. It'll be kind of a little weird when you have circles, but it's still going to work. Okay, so right here we have Eamon's favorite. Eamon, well, actually, Rosen right now, her favorite book, one of her favorite books, and this book is a rectangle. Okay, it's a rectangular prism, and when it's laying on the floor or the ground, it lays like this. And when it's like this, the base is on the bottom, so you can have the length times the width times the height and get the volume. But the book could also be put up like this. In this case, this over here, this long side across here is our length, that's our width, and that's how high it is or tight. So the base would be down here. The base can be really any side, which is going to get a little tricky because you're going to see that you can do basically any of the three dimensions, length, width, and height, can appear on any side depending which way the rectangle is facing in the problem. So the base is not always going to appear as the bottom. The base can be, we call it a side of the rectangle as well, as long as you have length, width, and then height can go that way as well. But the formula is going to be the same. There are three dimensions. You need all three to use the new formula. Or if you have the base, that means you have an area times the height or thickness. That should get you through today's problems. Use caution when you're doing ones with cubes inside of it. Those cubes aren't things we're counting anymore. They're clues to tell us what is the length of the rectangle, what's the height of the rectangle, and what's the width of the rectangle. So you can know what the dimensions of the shape are. Remember, there's three dimensions you need to know. That's all I got for now. If you need more help, definitely make sure you're going to your Zoom class with your teachers. And if you're in a class that's using Mr. Hickey's notes as well, you can use those to go with it. Have a great day. See you guys around.